Analysts estimate that AI will save the banking industry more than $1 trillion by 2030. But what does this actually mean for you? And what kind of impact can you expect to see in your industry?
If you look at finance, artificial intelligence in finance can absolutely reduce a lot of the kind of manual labor of understanding how to forecast your revenue or forecast your capacity planning. What are some of the easy low-hanging fruit pieces that machines can do to enable those agents to focus on the culture and the people?
There are a lot of heavily manual operations in finance and accounting. Some people are just sorting invoices. Finance accounting, where it's kind of like a heavily manual work, is definitely one of the key areas that AI can play into a big. That's one. Second thing I think is the core business. We've seen the wealth management firms have deployed robot advisors to help allocate or manage assets. Using AI, we can just make this whole process tens of thousands more efficient.
An organization can be divided into, let's say, broadly two types, right? Whether they are trading or whether they are investing in their own capital, or whether they are doing it on their client's behalf. If they are doing it on their client's behalf, there is certainly fiduciary and regulatory implications of that, which means that you cannot put in a model that you cannot explain to the regulators or to the clients. So a lot of models which are related to deep learning, they become kind of out of bound until we get to a point where people really understand it to be able to explain it to everybody else. And secondly, they can test the model behavior in a very clear way that they can repeat that, and which becomes a little bit difficult with the deep learning models. Whereas if you are trading for your own money or you are investing your own money, then absolutely you don't need to explain it to anybody else. So there are hedge funds or kind of proprietary trading firms or market making firms. They can pretty much take those models and they can try whether for what kind of conditions that model works fine. It doesn't have to be explained. It doesn't have to work in every single circumstance as long as you can catch it.
Typically in the past, we did a lot with data and analytics, and then we matured as a technology and the techniques matured into more predictive analytics, and then that kind of matured into prescriptive analytics. And then with, I think, the really democratization of computing power to allow machine learning models to really crank through large, vast amounts of data using big data and the storage and cloud computing, that kind of got a lot more sophisticated, and now we're in this tranche again of kind of pushing the boundaries into deep learning. In financial services, I think that runs the gamut between everything you would typically expect in front office type of trading for asset management, portfolio type of analysis, programmatic trading. And I think a lot of where AI and machine learning is being applied in financial services isn't really specific to financial services either. It's really the same type of outcomes that people are looking for in terms of customer engagement. I think where we are right now in the industry and applying this particular technology, it's following that typical hype curve. When on the one hand, you have almost a notion of artificial intelligence and machine learning being very Hollywood-like, and in terms of how people interact with it. And then you see also all of the headlines out there. I think the UK the government published a paper a couple of years ago that said by some year, in the future, very shortly, a lot of jobs would be displaced by automation, for example, and that also kind of comes into play. I don't think we've even come close to tapping into the potential of how the technology can be applied to financial services in particular, especially as more and more of the flow of financial services is dictated through like a cashless kind of digital economy. So.